Hi everyone, welcome back for another episode of Taking the Stage with Steph. In past episodes, they began in early 2021, we've covered things like, how to choose which league to compete in, and I covered many different options for leagues based on if you wanted a drug tested league or not, if you wanted to get to wear a gown or different costumes or just the bikini, right? So you have so many options to choose from. And then in addition to those, we also went over different things like choosing a coach, assessing if the coach is the right fit for you. So if you missed any of those, just go back in the Facebook group or on the YouTube playlist to see past episodes of Taking the Stage with Steph, okay? Today we are covering money, the cost of competing. All right, there are many costs that go into doing a bikini competition. The thing is, it's a very variable range. You can do it very budget friendly, or you can do it very expensive, and the choice is really yours. I would say if you're going to take this very seriously and you want to pursue this as more of like a career where you're competing many times a year, every year for quite a while, maybe you want to get sponsored and such, then you probably want to take the more expensive route and really do as much as possible to make everything just right for your show. But if you're like me and you're like, hey, I want to test the waters and compete once and see if I even like it, well, why don't you take the budget-friendly route and see if you even like it first? And if you did enjoy it, then maybe you can put a little bit more money into your next show and make it even bigger and better. Okay, so let's talk about what are the main costs of competing. One main cost is just signing up for the show. So most shows you have to enroll and get a membership for the league and then also sign up and register for the actual show itself. So most of them are like $70 to $100 to join the league for the year and become a member. And then signing up for just the show is usually like $70 to $150 plus more if you want to compete in multiple classes and such. So that right there, if you want to do budget friendly, you might just choose a show that's cheap compared to the others. If you want to do budget friendly, you might choose just one class to compete in versus multiple, so there's a lot of options, but it's going to be at least $152, $200 just to, register for a show. Okay. Now, a second expense is the suit itself. All right, the suit is not just a regular swimsuit you can buy off the racks. It's made for bikini competitions. It's going to be a nice fun color with lots of glitz and glamour and sparkle to it. Cute little connectors on the top, middle, and on the bottoms around the hips. So you've got to get a competition suit. The budget-friendly option would be to look out for sales or to look for a used one. A lot of girls will sell their suits after they compete. A used one is not going to be custom fit to you, so it may not fit just perfectly, okay? A suit on sale, like I got one for I think it was under $100. I got it on a website for sale. So it was not custom made, custom fit for me. And it did not have as much glitz and glamour. I actually added more on my own. I added more connectors and stuff to make it a little bit more fancy. So that's the budget friendly, or you can go ahead and spend loads of money on your competition suit. The really nice ones, can be $200, $300. They could even be over $500. And you can even get some on Amazon these days. So I would say on average, you're going to spend probably $200. But it can go way up there too if you really want to spend more and get a suit that is perfectly fit for you and has tons of hand sewn or hand glued little crystals and stuff on it. Okay, so in addition to those costs, let's talk about supplements. Maybe you just don't want to use any supplements at all. Maybe you don't need to take your daily vitamins. You don't need to have a protein powder because you get enough protein in your diet alone. Maybe you don't feel the need to take creatine or any fat burners or water pills or anything. Totally fine. Then that's the budget-friendly option, is to just not use supplements. If you're going to use any supplement, I would say get a protein powder that you really enjoy because it's difficult for most women to get in enough protein. But yeah, you really don't have to have the supplements if your nutrition is well balanced. You'll get all the nutrients that you need from your diet alone. You don't have to have supplements. That's why they're called supplements. They should be supplemental to your diet, only to fill in the gaps, right? Okay, so if you sign up with a coach and they're like, you have to buy this supplement bundle from me, it's required, well, I'd say bye, that's just dumb to require that. Okay, but if you budget is like no issue for you, then yeah, certainly invest in a good multivitamin, a good vitamin D, for women, a good calcium to take each day, good protein powder. If you want a pre-workout, go for it. If you want BCAAs, go for it. If you want to take creatine, go for it. Like, it can really, really add up. So I can't even give you a number for how much supplements would be each month, because it just totally depends on how much of them that you get, what brand you get, and all that jazz. Okay, so that's another expense, right? On top of that, the day of the show, your friends and family out in the audience taking pictures, they're gonna look like crap. Okay, you cannot get good pictures from back in the audience. That's why the show has a sponsored or like hired photographer. They get to stand like by the judges or really close to the stage, and that's the only way you're going to get a good stage shot. Otherwise, it's going to be dark, blurry. They're going to have to zoom in so much to get a good shot of you. It's not worth it. So if you want a good shot of you on stage, pay for the photographer and or the videographer the day of the show. It will be worth it if that's important to you. Okay, so that in itself, it varies by show, but I think at my show it was like $75 to get pictures. A little more if you want a video as well. So kind of the average there. Okay, in addition, what else are you going to wear with your bikini? Well, you got to get heels. The clear heels, they can't be just any high heels you like. They have to be the clear ones for most leagues. You got to get jewelry. You don't want a ton of jewelry. You don't want a necklace. You just want an earring, a bracelet, and a ring typically. Those 3 things. I got mine at Kohl's. You can think of places like Claire's, like really cheap stuff. You don't got to get fancy diamond stuff. Get the cheap stuff. It doesn't matter. So heels and jewelry, also additional expenses. The heels depends on the brand and where you get them. You can get them on Amazon. I'd say $45-50 at a minimum. Okay. All right. What else? Well, besides that, are you going to hire someone to help you with contest prep, or are you going to do it by yourself? I have an entire blog about this that I will link to below for you guys about whether you should, can you do a contest prep without a coach? And it's a viable option, and it's what I did for my first show. But I also weigh out the pros and cons of using a coach and not using a coach, okay? So obviously, if you're on a very tight budget, then you may want to do it on your own, which can be confusing, and you may have a lot of questions, which is nice. So you have this Facebook group to ask your questions in, right? We're here to help you and support you. But if you have the money, it is probably one of the best investments you can make to hire an experienced coach that has experience helping girls take the stage. Okay, just any personal trainer at the gym ain't gonna cut it. It needs to be someone who knows what they're doing with a contest prep and can get you stage ready. Okay, you can research online and find people that are right for you. Like I said in the last episode of Taking the Stage with Steph, I covered a lot about finding a coach, picking a coach, finding the right fit for you. So check that out. But coaching, if you're going to get a coach, price, I would say probably varies from, at a minimum, maybe $150 a month at a minimum. And it's just going to go up from there, probably up to $300, maybe a little more a month. So, and the length of a contest prep, most people do, I mean, the typical answer is 12 weeks, but most people do 16 to 20 weeks or more for contest prep. So that's how long you would want to hire someone out. Also, keep in mind, some people want to start with their contest prep coach far in advance. So they might work with them in their off season before they even start cutting for the show. Okay, so coaching is probably one of the biggest expenses, but the most valuable expense, probably one of the most important ones. If you can manage to get a coach, get one. they're going to be able to guide you, and you're going to have a much easier prep, less confusing prep if you have one. In addition to a coach that kind of manages your training and nutrition, you may also want to get a posing coach. That is someone who teaches you how to do the actual posing routine for your specific league. They're all pretty similar, but some leagues are a little bit different. Some do just front and back pose. Some have you do a side pose. Some don't really care if your hair is covering your upper back. Some do. It's like all little things per league. So what I recommend is see if you can find someone local in person, because it's so much easier to learn a posing routine in person with your posing coach right there to give you little adjustments and advice. If you can't find anyone local to you, that's okay. You can find someone that does a Skype lesson, and just go on Google and search your league, Bikini Pro Posing Coach. So let's say you want to compete in NPC. Well, the pros are called the IFBB, so you would search IFBB Bikini Pro Posing Coach and see if you can find one that does Zoom, Skype, whatever calls to do them. Or you could try and find someone local on Google too by putting in your city with that search too. Okay, so a posing session, prices vary. I would say depends on if you're doing a class or one-on-one. I did a class and I think it was like $100 where we had a couple sessions together as a group. Yeah, but if you're doing one-on-one, it's gonna be more. It'll probably be like $75 per session, and you want to get at least a few sessions in with them so you can make progress with each session and feel confident with your posing routine. The last remaining things are the spray tan. Spray tan, get it on site with the sponsored spray tan company. You'll do it the day before and the day of the show and get it through them. It'll probably be $150-ish for that. And lastly, these are optional. If you want to get like a bikini wax, you feel more comfortable on stage, letting it all be shown to the world. Those bikinis are itty bitty. If you haven't tried on a competition prep bikini, they're very small. So you want to be clean down there, cleaned and shaved up. So if it's a wax, go for it. Also, you might want to hire someone to do your makeup the day of the show. I do recommend it if you have the money, but once again, it's another expense. Okay, $100, $150, maybe even more to do both your hair and makeup, or maybe you could do your own hair because maybe you're good at curling your hair and you just want to hire out makeup. Most girls wear their hair down. Actually, they don't want to see your hair in an updo, so it needs to be down. But whether you have it straight, wavy, or curly is kind of up to you. A lot of girls will also put in extensions so they can have longer, fuller hair. Totally up to whatever look you're going for. So it's a very wide range, but hopefully that helps you get an idea. If I had to like put a total to it, I did a calculation back in the day, and at a very minimum, like if you don't get a coach and you do everything on your own, I think it was like $400 or $500 at a minimum for one show. And at a maximum, like it could get up to $2-3 grand or more if you take advantage of all of those things I mentioned and do like the most elite option for everything. Okay, so it's a wide range, but just know that competing is not cheap. Even if you do a lot of DIY budget-friendly stuff, it's going to be at least $400 or $500 to do a show. So when you put in that sort of investment into it, I mean, it's kind of good motivation because you're like, okay, I'm going to be on stage. I'm putting this much money into it. Like, I better get myself in shape for this, right? But it is an investment. It's a lot of your time and a lot of money to do it. So make sure that you're like 100% if you're going to do this. All right, thanks for joining me for this episode. Stay tuned next week. Every Thursday, new episode comes out with a video and sometimes a blog post too. I'm just want to share as much knowledge as I can about competing because I know there's so many of you here in the group with a lot of questions, and most of you are new to this world of competing and it's going to be your first time. Anyways, if you need any help or guidance, please go to beautifultothecore.com. I have a lot of free blogs. Bikini competition prep guide is on there, and I provide online coaching there. So if you're interested in looking for a coach, check it out. Reach out if you have any questions. My email is info@beautifultothecore.com, and I'm happy to to reply back and help you guys out. All right, see you next time.